This is the Discovery 3. We're here to take this riverboat down the Chena River. And we'll see how that goes. Big crowd. Our intro for the Journey to Alaska YouTube series featuring the 4 nomads. I'm Mike.
I'm Leanne. I'm Dawn.
And I'm Glenn.
And we are in Alaska. We are happy to be here in Alaska. We want you to continue following our journey. And we'll put up videos as we go. This is the boat, the vessel. Like I rushed to the stampede here to get on. We can't use the outside stairs. We got to go to the inside.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
I lost the audio for these clips, and anyway, we are sitting on top of this deck of the Chena River cruise boat, a boat cruise. And here's Dawn and Glenn and Leanne and I just sitting out on the top deck. We were told to sit on the port side to go to get the best view of the dog kennel here. The Susan Butcher dog kennel, the famous Iditarod champion, the first woman to win the Iditarod. So her daughter is running this camp now. She did a demonstration on how the dogs run, how much they enjoy to run. You can see the excitement of the dogs once they get back and they're off of their chains, how they love to get into the Chena River water, and then how much love the handlers have for those dogs, how much reward and attention they get after they've gotten back. So you can tell these dogs love to do what they do. And it's a lot of pleasure for them as well as the owner of the animals. In the Chena River and coming up with Tanana, which is we call Tanana, but Tanana River, and that is the largest river, glacial fed river in the world. It's got the rock flower in it as well, like we talked about before on other glacier fed rivers. We're turning around in this narrow channel for this big boat, and we're going back to this village. See some caribou, I think, and we'll see some of the dogs that we saw from the kennel.
Hello everyone. Like JR said, my name's Hannah. I'm Koyukon and Athabaskan, born here in Fairbanks. On my mother's side of the family, they're from the village of Iditarod, and on my father's side of the family, they're from the village of Rampart. I come from a family of dog mushers, and we own like 40 dogs.
Yeah, each dog eats 1 salmon every day for 5 or 6 months of winter. That's why you got to be able to catch your full share. And we want to learn about how that works now.
See them on the Yukon or Chena River during the summer months. Families will travel 30 miles away from their village to their family's respective fish camp. And the centerpiece of fish camp is the fish wheel. My dad, he has a fish wheel, but it's on the Tanana, and it's closer to Nenana. Now the fish wheel is an efficient fish catching machine that will provide enough salmon, 4 pens, and those will be staying during fish camp. And then right next to me are the air drying racks. This is where we hang the salmon before it goes to the smokehouse. And the smokehouse is this large structure you see right behind me. Now the smokehouse is key to turning to a salmon into a dehydrated, fully preserved food source. Once the salmon is done smoking, it then be stored into the cache. And the cache is that structure you see on stilts. And the reason why it's on stilts is so it can be away from any of the pesky animals. But if you look back over here between our canvas wall tents are our dog houses. And we would always bring our dogs to fish camp so it can act as a natural alarm system just in case of any large game animals came into our fish camp.
Yeah, big old bear rip everything down in minutes, and that's weeks of work that you can't get back. So it's good to know in advance. And speaking of the work now, let's go back to the cutting table. What was this you showed us when we came by earlier?
Yeah, so like I said before, here I have a chum salmon. In the interior of Alaska, we get 3 types of salmon. We get 1 run from each the king and then the silver, and 2 runs from the chum. Now the chum is considered a lesser quality salmon, so we feed these to the dogs. And right now, I've started the basic dog food cut. I remove the head from the body. Then I separate the two fillets from the backbone, keeping it connected at the tail so it would be easy to hang on the air drying racks. If there's any meat left on this backbone here, we would give it to one of the dogs in fish camp. And this fish had some fish eggs, and with the fish eggs, we would either give it to the dogs or use it for fish bait. And if this fish head was a higher quality salmon like the king or silver, we would make this into fish head soup and give it to our elders, because it's considered to be a delicacy.
Oh, yeah. How is that fish head soup, by the way?
I don't know, JR. I'm not old enough.
She's not. No, it's not for lack of trying. There's never any left by the time the kids get up to the serving area, so you're going to have to wait about 40 years. Now, why all of this slicing into your fillet?
Right now, I am scoring the salmon, which is making down the cuts through the flesh down to the skin. Now, this creates a larger surface area for the smoke to work deeper into the salmon and to fully dehydrate it.
See when she holds it up here, I always like this for a picture. Every one of those cuts opens a vent down into that fillet, see, so it'll lose all of its water weight, but none of the nutritional value. All those calories the dogs need stay right in there. Very nicely done.
Thank you.
Why, though, not just take it right into the smokehouse? Now, you say it's better to leave it out in the open?
Yes, because if you put a wet dripping salmon right into the smokehouse, it can mold. So, we're gonna hang it on the air drying racks until it has a nice sheen or glaze on it, and then into the smokehouse it goes. But keep in mind, each family has their own techniques on smoking a salmon. Since this is for a dog, it would only be in the smokehouse for about 2 weeks until it's fully dehydrated, weighs less than a pound, and looks something like this.
Yeah, way easier to haul around, bundle it up just like firewood, take it on dog sleds all winter long. Thing is, after 2 weeks, that doesn't look like it maybe tastes a lot better than firewood if you're people. So how about the salmon that you make for your family?
Now for us, there are several differences. Like I said before, we'd start off with a higher quality salmon like the king or silver. And we'd take more time and care into the process. Now we do like making fillets, but we also like making long vertical cuts called salmon strips. My family and I, we soak ours in a brine of brown sugar, honey, and salt. Then onto the air drying racks and then into the smokehouse. But it's only going to be in the smokehouse for about 2 or 3 days because we like a much softer texture. And then finally, we would smoke it with cottonwood or alder because it leaves a sweeter flavor. But for the dogs, spruce wood, driftwood, anything really, you know, they're not too picky.
After the demonstration from the salmon fishing, drying and all, we got off of the boat and we toured Chena Village. In this area, we'll come back to it, but look at this hides and look at the stuffed moose over there. The Athabaskans trapped in the wintertime because the animal's fur was thicker and the hair longer, and so they would use these line cabins in order to have a place to shelter in the harshness of the winters, and this would give them a place to hide out until they could move to the next spot. Athabaskans adopted some of the Western building practices by these sod roofs that would add additional insulation as well as coverage from the elements. These log cabins that are represented here show how the traders and prospectors and even the Athabaskans had learned how to evolve in their construction methods and make more permanent structures with these log cabins. And they use the same sod roofs on them as well. Looks like a tent with a caribou hide on it.
Yeah.
Got a canoe over there, some snowshoes and things like that here. So here they are, finally got in. Look at this guy. The male and the female have antlers, I'm told. Reindeer and caribou are very similar. Reindeer is considered a Ragnifer tarandus. The caribou is a Ragnifer tarandus grantee. So one is a grantee and the other is the reindeer is a tarantus. And they were brought in the late 1800s because of food shortages for the natives. When I look at these books here,
Yeah, you may
there's
have
Granite.
to. Uh-huh.
There's Granite, the greatest lead dog in Iditarod history, led by
Hey, how are
Susan
you?
Butcher. It's granite. Susan Butcher, that's the sled dog place that we stopped and looked at. Her daughter is here, 54 to 2006, so she's our age. Actually, she's Dawn's age. And we're standing here beside the paddle wheel on the shore, and it's in the Chena River. And we're headed back up. We've seen what we want to see at this Chena River camp for the First Nations folks, Athabaskan Tribes. So we enjoyed our visit here.
Mosquito
This
flew
is
right.
the Pumphouse. We had dinner there last night.
Is it good?
Yeah, it was good.
It's pretty good.
A lot of locals go there.
Where at?
Right here, the Pumphouse.
What a great time to be able to enjoy the pump house. And if you didn't notice, by the way, when we came by before, those lamp posts up on their dock, those are little mining nozzles.
Yeah.
Up on end.
Yeah.
Just like the one we saw in the video, shooting out all that water. We've been recycling up here for a long time. Good to see you folks. Picked a good night to be out there. Partner and best friend of the last of the old steamboat captains, getting around great at 97.
He's 97? If that's her son behind her, then her son. So he looked like he was 60 or 70.
This is the original boat from the river cruise. So we took a boat ride on a paddle wheel boat, and this is the Bakeley and Barrington navigation. That's the river transportation, Alaska and Yukon. And they did running the river for supplies, shipping supplies in and out. And now they have these river cruises that they do on these same boats. So we enjoyed this. This is the Susan Butcher, the Iditarod champion, and this is her display here. And that's the dog kennel that we went by and we saw them from the boat.